Well, it's funny. I was wondering if what I said on Facebook the other day just really pissed people off or something, I'm just used to a certain amount of views and a certain amount of people responding and or, communicating, whatever it is. And oh my gosh, I just realized somebody said that they are airing the Dr. Phil show from 2018 in another market. It may not be my Ohio market, it might be some other market, but definitely getting some feedback and people checking out my thought process, of which has evolved since 2018. But of course, the Dr. Phil show likes to rehash things of the past and do not take into account evolution, which is completely fine. That's the system, that's the way Hollywood does things, is they want to get people stressed out and reacting. And I understand that. I went on there for a reason, to give people information, to give them a possibility, another thought process. Whether or not you agree with it, completely irrelevant. But now you have a choice. I mean, that's the Freemason creed. The Freemasons run our society. And so when you're faced with choices and you end up you end up not where you want to be in body, mind, and spirit, and you're given a choice regardless of how it is characterized, you can't blame anyone but yourself. That's the beauty of the choices in this simulation. And so now you've seen my thought process from 2018. Now you've seen my thought process within the last week or so. Okay, now you've seen the evolution. If you're aware enough that can then see the difference between what I said on the Dr. Phil show and then what I'm saying today, you might make the connection if you're aware that there's definitely some evolution and adaptation go along with that. But now you're seeing your choices, your lifestyle, your belief system is either going to prolong your life or destroy your life. And so there's really nothing to prove anymore. But I was wondering, why is there such a jump in the viewership on my business page? I was tripping out on that. I'm like, what the hell? I can't imagine that someone is that pissed off about their religion that I'm saying, well, God doesn't exist, and all the scripts in Hollywood with the star seeds, with the Illuminati stuff, the conspiracy world, all that stuff. There's relevance, but they also are the rabbit holes that people get mired into, and then all the activism that then keeps them distracted, as well as the TV shows, okay? And then people are not taking care of themselves. Now they're spinning harder and faster in a very dynamic environment, and they won't survive if they don't change the way they look at how they respond to viruses in a very dynamic environment. Okay? And so this is just an opening for those that are able to take in new information. Not everybody is able to take in new information, and you see it. But that's good to know what the world is made up of. And you'll see then the outcome when someone fails to evolve and have the ability to take in new information. They go over the cliff. What was once a more calculated and predictable time between when you're born and when you are in the morgue, now it's unpredictable for a lot of people. Because not only do they have cancer, disease, and chronic illness, but they're obese, emaciated, they're working themselves to death, they're resisting the assimilation to this new world. And so you're seeing the wheels are spinning faster and faster and faster, and they're stressed out. And I can appreciate the energetic responses, because let me tell you, when I figured out that we are in a kind of assimilation and that we all have been programmed by the scripts, bioscripts, the programming of what our life means, going to work, being a mom, dad, sister, brother, when that's been programmed within us, and then we are programmed to then self-destruct, be afraid of salt, be afraid of sugar, be afraid of food, and people are actively starving. I was shocked. I was pissed off. I was pissed off at the medical system. I was pissed off at the holistic system. I was pissed off at everybody. And then when I discovered the recipe for the JJ juice, which in reality was just proving that life can live within that salty concoction, because I got it tested. I already dealt with the Ohio Attorney General asking me to prove my claims, but they wanted to know if my juice was probiotic. The reason why? Because they want to know if life can live with it. Because if life can't live within a remedy or a concoction, then it would be antibiotic. And so they wanted to make sure that my juice wasn't antibiotic. So when I sent it off to the lab in Columbus, Ohio, and they counted 13 million colony-forming units, that's the proof that this was not an antibiotic drink. This was a probiotic drink. But yes, it had energy that people were not prepared for. But they were preempting things and getting through the hard parts of evolving and releasing the excess T cells and B cells. And so it created energy. People were feeling stuff. And they were feeling all types of symptoms and whatever. But they were doing that, they were feeling that anyways, but it would be triggered by viruses. It would be triggered by the foods in their world. Not that the food was poison or the viruses were bad. They just had stuff that was laying dormant within them. And when people had heart attacks and strokes and they died from them, because their body didn't have enough substance to deal with the evolution to a new environment. So when they were doing the JJ meta mentality and feeling stuff, those two ladies felt stuff, but they still survived. They were sitting there talking about how they felt stuff, and they wanted to blame that I caused all their issues when they already had it within them. And it was only a matter of time if a virus would have catalyzed it, or some other food they would have eaten that would have catalyzed it. But they catalyzed it with something that was really extraordinary, like electrolytes in the juice, plus the probiotics. And they were eating food. And they had enough substance to them to deal with the waking up the latent viruses, the viral shock waves, the waking up the T cells and B cells that were put to sleep through all the therapeutics, through all their antibiotics. And so now we're seeing in this pandemic, people are getting their stuff triggered left and right. And yeah, it's like when you're getting triggered left and right from a virus, when you get from a virus, you're not going to make it if you don't respond to it correctly. And so there is no way to say what is normal. There is no way to say what is abnormal. It's the fact that, can you survive a dynamic environment? Is your lifestyle and belief system going to give you the longevity to where you don't die from preventable diseases like cancer, disease, and chronic illness? And most people think that they should die anyway, so they're fine with going on the diets, starving themselves, taking their antibiotics, taking out their organs. They're okay with getting the mucus sucked out by a machine, not exercising their own diaphragm. They're okay with being afraid of salt and sugar and meat and milk and cheese and eggs and all that stuff. And then they waste away to nothing, and they look emaciated, or they're so obese because of the hormonal imbalances from all those, the composite of so many viruses that they haven't released through the T cells and B cells. Because if you're not releasing what your immune system is triggering to help protect you in new environments, all that stuff is going to send off messages that are then going to cause hormonal imbalances and also trigger excessive amount of production of T cells and B cells in the mucus. And then people drown in their own mucus. They have blood clots. They have heart attacks and strokes and aneurysms, and they don't survive new viral uploads from people that they are hanging out with in crowds, their family, their friends. And that's why those that are passing away from viral exposure are usually the immunocompromised, the extremely obese, the majorly underweight, and of course, same thing as immunocompromised, cancer, disease, and chronic illness patients, and autoimmune disorder patients. And so, you all have choices. And it's not about looking skinny. It's not about wearing filters and adhering to a social beauty construct. It's about survival. Survival of the fittest. And when you are stuck in the paradigms of looking like a specific archetype, I don't know how you survive this crazy dynamic environment with mutating viruses, especially the way you react to them with extensive therapeutics, withholding salt, sugar, meat, milk, and cheese, eggs, and fruits and vegetables, and constantly working yourself to death, being around people who are releasing the T cells and B cells, and you're taking them on, and they are accumulating, causing either the rapid weight loss or the increase in weight to where you are morbidly obese. And then people also suffering from heart attack, strokes, and then going to get operations, and then trying to take on the new therapeutics, which is still going to take them down notches and notches in an aggressive environment. And so it's just interesting to see that Dr. Phil is re-airing the episode today in 2022. And so good. I will get more people being given the choice, and they're seeing now my current thought process juxtaposition with what I was thinking back in 2018. And again, the Freemason creed is you're being given a choice. No one is forcing you to do anything. Here are all the different possibilities of what you will experience. There are two ways to deal with energy. You squelch it with antibiotics and taking out your organs, or you feed the energy with all food in the food supply, and you balance out your electrolyte intake. And if you don't do that, then yeah, cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders will be in your future. And that's not my fault. That was your choice when all the warnings were given to you on how you could potentially respond to new energy like viruses. And you have to eat all food in the food supply. Stop starving yourself. Good luck. Bye.